Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Circuit 42. I am your host, Ian McIntosh, and this is my also host, Magical Wizard Michael Martinez. How are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. Pretty excited to talk about this movie that we're here to chat about. What's tell the folks about your shirt, Ian.
So
I
what
like
so
I like
what
your
is
shirt.
a movie, by the way? What is that?
What?
What is a movie, sir?
What is a movie? Movie is, it's got people in it. People do the things. They are being recorded. Ian knows all
But do
about
the
that
do the
because he just
cameras
had to
take people
clear so much video off of his computer so that we could record this.
do the cameras take people's souls? I've read that when you take the picture of me, it will take part of my soul, and I have to kill the person to get my soul back. Is that
Uh,
is that true, Michael?
I don't think so. I think you probably watched, The Ring, and blended it with like It Follows too many times. I
Yeah.
think no,
Because I saw
we're
kind of
good.
a Holocaust, and I'm pretty sure that's why they killed all those people.
Oh, I thought, maybe you were gonna talk about Thanksgiving or something like that.
No,
Like one of
that's
the
far too classy.
abominations that you forced us to watch for a special.
So my shirt. You asked about my shirt. Okay,
Yeah,
it's my shirt. That's uh,
nice.
a
Who's
motherfucking
the
camel.
artist on that? Who's the
I don't
artist
know.
there? Really?
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
but I know this is by the artist who did Domino with Gail Simone. I don't know the other. I don't know if it's the same artist with the other two. But yeah, that's Domino.
nice.
That's Deadpool. I've been told, and um, that's antenna, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Good. Nailed it.
With his big ass gun.
I mean, who the hell
Nice.
names a character after like cable television? It's just dumb. That's like what it was. Rob Liefeld's inspiration. It's like, hey, we're getting the cable hooked up. Oh
Yeah,
my
that is
God.
kind of like a random like. Did they ever explain why his code name is Cable?
Because Rob Liefeld's not very smart.
And they just kind of yeah. They just wanted something that sounded like metal and like hardcore, and they're just like fucking what's Cable? Yeah, yeah.
Because Louis Simonson seems so too cool to come up with that shit. So I'm gonna give credit to Rob Liefeld for it because he wants all the credit for all the characters he co-created with other people. So that was his idea.
Oh God.
He's a fucker.
No man. Uh, okay. So
He used to be cool. Then the movie came out.
my
What is
shirt.
your shirt?
This is my Thanos shirt. Surprisingly, I only have one Thanos shirt, and this is it. I got this right about when Avengers came out, when they made it clear that they were going to have Thanos. And so obviously this was right around the time where everybody was like super hyped in the MCU. Um, this first Avengers was like so fucking huge, and then everybody was so excited to see all these characters, and when they started to introduce Thanos, I was trying to make it clear to everybody, like, you are not ready for how badly Thanos is gonna come and fuck everybody up. And he did. So I wore this shirt for the longest time to just be like, he's coming. He's coming and he's going to whoop everybody's ass, and you're not gonna like it. And that's what happened.
There you go. Big purple Hellboy.
Yeah. Oh God. I saw snippets of like the latest like Hellboy attempt. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that.
You know it's really sad? It's actually based off one of the actual comic storylines,
Yeah.
and
But
it's
but so
act
were the other ones though.
no, they weren't.
Yeah, they were.
They were kind of a random mashup of different stories.
Yeah, but like still they were based on the comics.
I know, but this is the first one that are actually based off an actual specific storyline, and I'm like, God damn it! Why does he look like he just? Why does Hellboy look like he took Ozempic?
Yeah. Like just bring back Ron Perlman. Bring back Ron Perlman. Bring back Del Toro. Do it right, man. Just fucking do it.
I always tell people like so many people have not watched the animated Hellboy movies, and I'm like, why the fuck not? They're amazing.
Ooh, speaking of Hellboy, by the way, before we, actually start talking about the shit that we're here to talk about,
What? What are we here talking about?
I found a old like Hellboy video game for I think it was like PS2 or PS3.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad.
I'm gonna check it out and see what it's like.
Didn't have fun.
There is like a new one, I think it's called like Web of Weird or something like that.
Dude, we
I've
should
heard
do
that's
like
that's
live stream
decent.
Circuit 42 comic book games and do like a live stream on Twitch for it. I'll
Yeah.
be there for you to help you and make fun of you.
Play Marvel Ultimate Alliance and shit. X-Men
No,
Legends.
no, not good games.
Bad games. So we
Yes.
gotta try to find. I did see in the store. Where did I see it? I saw they have the Batman Begins game. I don't know if that's gonna be any good though.
Oh,
But
it's actually pretty good.
uh, compared to the Arkham games, I'm sure it's a little rough though.
Yeah, but it's still actually solid, and they got the entire cast.
Yeah, I didn't play it, but we'll see.
I
Um.
rented and played through. It's a quick play.
Oh,
Plus,
okay.
unlike the Arkham games, the scenes are actually good because they got the Need for Speed team to do them.
That's pretty neat.
It's like, how do we get someone who's actually done a driving game? It's like, oh my God, what is this? It doesn't
That
just
sounds
control like fucking Atari.
that sounds pretty cool though.
Other than that,
Okay.
it's okay. It's not great.
So we're here to talk about Wolverine 10,
Oh shit,
aka
Wolverine 10.
aka Deadpool and Wolverine. It's a little movie that you guys may have heard about. It's
Made
made a slight little splash at the box office.
$400 million in 3 days.
That's pretty good. I think pretty sure it broke the record for like the top like R-rated highest grossing R-rated movie, did it not?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see for
Or like
comparison.
opening weekend at least.
How much did the first Deadpool make worldwide? Let's take a look.
I'm guessing somewhere in the 600 to 700 million.
782 million. So in
Damn,
3 days, Deadpool and Wolverine made more than half of the box office of all the first Deadpool.
that is that is that's what happens when you have Hugh Jackman's, cum gutters.
Oh no, Hugh Jackman. See, that's a great
So
thing. When eventually his career like kind of dwindles and he has to end up doing gay porn, you just pronounce his name differently and it works. It's like, hello, it's Hugh Jackman.
I don't I think it's probably gonna be a slightly more Australian accent than that, but yeah.
Oi, it's me, Hugh Jackman.
Okay, now that's no.
There you
Okay.
go. Crikey dingo. Star of
Jesus.
Pride of the X-Men.
Jesus Christ. Uh so Deadpool and
Ah,
Wolverine. Ian, you saw it last night, right?
saw it last night. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I saw it Thursday night. It was kind of late, but it was totally worth it. Um it's pretty good. I feel like so first of all, like we're going balls deep with the spoilers, right?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
and Deadpool 2, by the way, made $785 million, including that weird international release of the PG-13 version with Fred Savage.
Do you think they're gonna do a PG-13 version of
If
this?
they do, it will be hilarious. Because have you ever watched the Deadpool holiday movie?
I think I did. I think I watched the one with like Fred Savage and he's like trying to and everything's kind of like toned down a little bit.
No, but here's the funny thing: the Fred Savages are cruder than like everything else in the first movie, than the actual uncensored movie. Like, there's some jokes in there where I'm like, this is only a PG-13 joke because you bleep certain words.
Um so what is your overall like your take? Like what was like your it's a little bit more fresh in your mind right now.
I I liked it. It just really damn good. This honestly, this is my favorite Deadpool movie of the three. Um, I think this is the perfect send off they could have done to Fox Marvel. And I love that it still feels like a Deadpool movie. It doesn't feel like a movie where they just derailed Deadpool to make the a send off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Really like some folks and this is the thing though because they even said like Ryan Reynolds said like the plot is like going to be like thin. but it's a good time because it's just, me and Hugh Jackman like fucking about, and the chemistry between them is really good. Um, Especially the parts where, like we're so used to Deadpool being like the biggest like asshole in the room. And so there are moments in the movie where the fact that Wolverine has been around for hundreds of years and has had hundreds of years to become an even bigger asshole come into play, and to the point where he like breaks Deadpool and he's just like, I'm gonna say like the meanest fucking thing that's on my mind and just destroy your soul. And that
Oh
happens in
God, it
the
was
movie.
harsh.
It was, and it's definitely so you've probably heard of it's kind of like a storytelling thing where like if you have like two guys that like get into a fight and neither of them gets knocked out, they probably are going to become friends.
Yeah,
That's like a thing.
that's how
So
we became friends.
it's this like kind of taken to another level because of their healing factors and like their weaponry and their fighting skill, and it's that like cranked up to 11. So to see them interact, I'm so glad that also we don't have to wait that long to see Deadpool start to interact with Wolverine. The way that the movie sets it up, first of all, did not expect um, a massacre set to an NSYNC song.
And the funny thing is, like, I think it's interesting how people are very slowly remembering that this is a reference to X-Men 2.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and I appreciated the fact that they had to touch upon the fact that this was gonna like fuck with the legacy of Wolverine post Logan, because everybody can agree that that was such a great send off for the character. So when
What
they
else are you
announced
gonna do
this,
with it?
so many people were just like, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't bring it back. You can't like fuck with that." And it's to the point where you even saw there's been recent comments from like James Mangold saying like he doesn't appreciate the multiverse like the shared universe movie storytelling approach like at all. So I'm sure he is extra seething right now because the movie starts out with Deadpool digging up his
Desecrating his fucking
Wolverine's
grave.
corpse
Yeah.
because he's like, you think maybe for a minute that he's actually going to come back because Deadpool is like talking about like, oh, like he's got a healing factor, this is gonna be fine, and then bam, fucking like skeleton. And then the fucking the TVA show up and they try to apprehend Deadpool, and that does not go very well. And there's some
Okay, let's just talk about how fucking amazing that scene is. The fact that this is the thing I love about this movie, first off, how many movies are going to put the name of the editor and the production designer and the cinematographer on the screen at the beginning of the movie and like give them proper credit for the work that they're doing? And this movie found the most entertaining way ever to do that.
yeah, and it's kind of interesting how like a lot of movies have kind of like went away from especially when you take a look at some of like the older like Marvel movies, like for instance like the Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies. They have like the big old like title
And then
sequencing,
like
and
Alex Ross painted openings.
yeah. And so a lot of movies have like gone away from like the big like opening like credits and kind of highlighting the names of everybody who worked on it, the cast and crew like in a sequence like that. So, and I believe the rest of the Deadpool movies had something similar. Like they had something like I think the first one had like the car chase
Car
deal.
chase. And the second one
Yeah.
was
Is
the
like
explosion at
yeah.
the ending with the was it the Ashes playing by Celine Dion?
Yeah.
Seriously, part two still has the best soundtrack, specifically
I
the super duper cut.
Yeah. I can't really like argue with that. Like I'm so I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because like the whole Canadian aspect of it and getting Celine Dion to do it. So part of me wants to be like, I'm surprised she did that, but she was probably like, let's do it for Canada.
By the
And
way, Dude, I was very happy to see her at the awards, considering not the awards, the Olympics, considering everything she's going through health-wise. The fact that she just came out there and just fucking killed that shit.
I mean, what do you expect? It's Celine Dion.
I know, but anyone in that kind of condition could be like, I'm not gonna do it,
Yeah.
reasonably so. And she's like, Nah, I'm just gonna fucking kill it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, no problem. And then there were um man, like Deadpool, like I think they were really trying to make sure that we knew, even though that this was kind of like the first official like Deadpool like MCU movie, that this was still gonna be a hardcore R with all of like the gore and the violence that we've come to expect from the property. So getting to see Deadpool use Wolverine's claws was pretty badass. And he just like fucked everybody up with those.
And there was that one scene where, well, yeah, I'm like, no, Deadpool, what are you doing? That's not a penis.
Oh God. And then that
See, and the great
poor
thing is because we didn't say the word fuck in the first like minute of the video, we're not gonna have to worry about getting demonetized.
oh okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, so
Um
fuck.
that poor TVA agent that got stabbed like right in the fucking the nuts. Um so awful. And then the finisher I thought was so fucking the badass, just like the flick of the katana, like
Yeah,
the fucking bounce. That was pretty
yeah,
badass.
yeah.
And so it kind of after that the movie kind of does like this little and I think the first movie kind of did something similar. The big old action sequence and then kind of like went back. Second movie I think actually pretty much did the same thing because he was like
Oh,
sitting started out and he was gonna like take himself out.
and by the way,
Flashback.
credit to Nick Polly, the dance double for Deadpool in that opening, because I was like, ah, come on, part of this has to be digital. You know, they could easily make it digital if they wanted to. Because in the first movie, like you don't realize how much of it actually is digital. Like there's a lot of stunt work and practical work, but there's the digital stuff actually blends well. That's Nick Polly. He's a background dancer. He's a pro dancer. He's worked with NSYNC. He's worked with Katy Perry, a bunch of other people. So like he actually that was him doing the entire sequence, and I'm like, shit, that was actually pretty awesome.
I wonder if Ryan Reynolds even if he tried it. He's like, let me give it a try and let's see
Like,
how it
oh no, I
looks.
dance like a white Canadian.
Yeah. And then he's just like, let's get somebody professional to do that. But no, that was pretty good. It does a little flashback and kind of shows, I think it was 6 years. 6 years have passed since like the last Deadpool. And Deadpool was trying to make a name for himself and he's trying to join the Avengers. So seeing him interact with Happy
Oh no,
was pretty
that
badass.
oh, and I loved all the background references. Like someone pointed out
Yeah.
online, and I didn't even catch this at all because I forgot that Kevin Feige actually said that he went with the fan theory about the kid in Iron Man 2 being Spider-Man. He said, you
Mhm.
know what? It's canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see the helmet in front of the picture of Spider-Man, because it's like they only have so many times that they can actually feature him in a movie because of the deal with Sony, they literally put the helmet of the kid from Iron Man 2 in front of the picture of Spider-Man or Peter Parker.
Yeah. And it was very appropriate too that in trying to like join the Avengers, he was talking to, Jon Favreau.
I know. It's like fuckers. You're doing this right at the beginning, aren't you?
And it was also good to see, kind of to have him back as and to show like his because some people forget like because of his somewhat like limited role like in the MCU, like how funny Jon Favreau can be and like how good his comedic timing is. So to see him, going back and forth with Deadpool, just got to highlight that, and that was really fun to see. Not to mention like all the little, like you said, like the little props and the little uh callbacks to previous MCU movies. That was so neat.
I love
Yeah,
that they actually put the Marvel Masterpiece trading cards in there too.
Yeah, and so so wait a minute. So they had the cards, right? That were behind Happy. Were those the ones you're talking about, or were
I think
those
so,
the
or it
ones that
may
were
have been
supposed to
some of
be
the paintings that they put in the
Coulson's?
background. I think
Were
those
they?
were meant to be Coulson's, but I know that they
Yeah,
put the Marvel Masterpieces Joe Disco one in there. I'm gonna see this movie in theaters again. But
yeah,
apparently
definitely.
they reference it. Have you ever now I know you're like 2 years younger than me, so I'm assuming you've seen the Marvel Masterpiece trading cards.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I actually have some of these around here. I have to dig them up.
I wish I had had those. I have the X-Men Flair Ultra cards, but for anyone who isn't familiar with these, they look amazing. And here, I'll just pull them up on screen. Seriously, this is the best part of doing the show this way.
I know these. I have some upper deck ones here.
Here.
Yeah, they're not as fancy.
Yeah, but these are the Marvel Masterpiece cards by Joe Disco.
I remember those.
I love that they've been using them for the variant covers too. But yeah, so I need to rewatch it, but apparently they hit a couple of those in the background.
Yeah, and they so one thing that was kind of interesting also is when they flashed to that little part where he was trying to interview for the Avengers, it said it was basically like on the Sacred Timeline, which is like the MCU proper,
Yeah, 616.
versus and then when they show him go back to like he's having like a birthday party, he's wanting to, make something of himself. That didn't happen 6 years later, and Vanessa has left him, but she still shows up to his birthday party, and he's got like a lot of the folks there from like X-Force and the X-Men and Peter. Um,
I was
so
just happy to know that Cole from Mortal Kombat was still alive.
what's that?
I was happy to know that Cole from Mortal Kombat was still alive, man.
Who's that?
Shatterstar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here's the funny thing. I've
I'm
seen him in
surprised they
other
brought him back.
because he was a douche and
He
he was
was
available.
useless.
I give him credit though. They like this guy, when you find those actors where it's like, we're gonna find someone that looks exactly like the comic book version. It's like, no, you're not. You're Marvel, you're Fox Marvel. And then it's like, here you go. And it's like, what the fuck? That's weird.
Yeah, of all the people to save, like in addition to Peter, is the fucking Shatterstar. Is I was kind of surprised not to see Domino come back.
With the number of characters we have, I understand why they may not have.
Yeah, and yeah, I can see that. That might
Also,
have been like
I
a
don't
little
want
too
to be
much.
reminded of the X-Force movie that since never happened. That was supposed to
Well,
represent.
yeah, and the only bad thing is like that would have been like another character where we would have been like, oh, like I wish we could have seen more of them because I wish we could have seen more of like Colossus because that would have been cool.
Yeah,
But
because literally all of his friends are like there for like about 5 minutes.
yeah, I think Colossus barely had any lines really. But
Oh,
what's
sorry.
up?
I want to touch on one of the actors. And he got a lot. I'm happy that he got a lot of screen time, and that's Matthew McFadden as Mr. Paradox. We're going to talk about more coming up
Yeah,
because he's a damn good actor, and anyone who's seen the show Succession knows this.
yeah.
And
He's one of
seeing
the
him pop
highlights
up,
of that show. Like
yeah,
even is as he's like even as like his both his highs and his lows like as a character are still so like entertaining to watch. He does everything like so well. I know a lot of the other actors got a lot of awards for that. Did he ever get like a best like
I
supporting from
don't
that or
remember.
no?
All I know is that he was Athos in the Three Musketeers by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And then wait, let me
That was the
see.
best cast for a not great movie, although it was better than most Paul Anderson movies. Weirdly
Oh, it
enough.
looks like he's won 2 primetime Emmys. Let's see. Ooh, he did. He won. He didn't win. Let's see. Not the BAFTA. Okay, good. He did win. Oh, he won Best Supporting Actor, Outstanding Actor for a Drama Series in 2020, 2022, and 2023. So yeah, I'm glad that he got props for that because He did such a good job in that fucking show. Like, man, yeah, there were a couple times where I was watching that where you see him being just like a like complete piece of shit character, but then he gets like real human for a second, and you're just like, this motherfucker
Because
can act.
I've started watching it. I've not seen all of it because
Mhm.
there's so much good shit on HBO that people weirdly aren't watching.
Yeah. I feel like I got to a point where I watched like practically all of the good content that was on Max, and then they started canceling shit and deleting it. So I'll probably go back just to watch like the latest season of House of Dragon and then just dip back out.
I feel like either they've learned their lesson or Taika Waititi got a contract on them because the fact that our flag means death is still on there.
Oh, but they still canceled it, but I think he has like a new show coming out.
Time Bandit, it's based off the movie. It's
Yeah.
already out
Oh, okay.
and is borderline got no advertising from Apple. And apparently he was filming at the same time as he was filming for Flag Means Death.
Hmm.
But I'm like not even too far over in the same locations in New Zealand. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Thor sucked, bro, but I give you credit for your work ethic in terms of like at least your television work. Because his
Yeah.
movies have dropped off significantly.
So,
So back to
Tom
Deadpool.
well, how do you pronounce the name? Tom Wamsgans, you know, gentleman from Succession that we were just talking about.
Matthew McFadden?
Yeah, I'm talking about his character name from Succession.
Oh, okay, okay. I was gonna say that's not that hard a name. It's like, sir, you're
No, no,
Scottish and white. That's fair.
yeah, no.
And I'm
So
like translucent.
yeah, he plays Mr. Paradox. So I know that I think there was some speculation like when this movie was talked about and we knew the TVA was going to be involved, like whether or not Owen Wilson was going to show up. I think they definitely, if they had any notions of Owen Wilson being this guy, I'm glad that they didn't do it. So that way we got this other character, um,
Yeah.
who
Also, I think it would have been
is,
two packs in terms of the cast.
yeah. And there's already enough jokes about certain people fucking up the budget with their present. So seeing him, he's obviously like a very entertaining. Like he can be like menacing and he can be very like lighthearted and like a doofus. He's got such a great range, and so he grabs Deadpool. He basically like lets Deadpool know that his timeline is fucked because it lost a quote unquote anchor being, which turned out to be Wolverine, which ends up like leading Deadpool uh, on a little quest to find a replacement for his Wolverine and takes him across the multiverse. And we get to see all these different Wolverine variants that people have been dying to see in live action for the longest time. So, Ian, what was your favorite
Hold on, sorry.
variant? I bet you I can guess which one it is.
Oh, I can tell you exactly.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Wolverine specifically, or are you talking about Wolverine and other characters?
Talk about which specific variant was your favorite to see that you saw and you were just like, fuck yeah.
If we're talking Wolverine specifically, because I know a lot of people are going to be focused on that,
Hmm.
I would say Stumpy. Stumpy, Weapon
Yeah,
X, Age of
I
Apocalypse.
fucking knew it. I
It-
fucking knew
it-
it.
and I'm also going to say, I love that this was his credit and name, Cavill Green.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of people were speculating that like Henry Cavill was gonna like take over the role or
I'm
something.
not gonna lie, like I'd be fine with that. After seeing that like 5 seconds, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, go for it.
Uh,
Better than
like I'm
Scott Eastwood, the handsome plank of wood.
no, it's there's no chance that they're gonna make it Scott Eastwood, man. I think they're
Seriously,
too.
that guy wants the role so badly, but I'm like, bro, you were like the biggest nepo baby in the world.
Scott Eastwood, like he's just yeah, like him and Jack Courtney, they're just kind of they're not they're kind of like signals for like mediocre movies. It sucks.
I actually
Um
told I told Jen the other day, I'm like, we should watch Texas Chainsaw 2013, the 2012, 2013 one, because it's like the test of like how shallow can we be about celebrities that we find attractive. Because like
which one was that again?
that
Who
was
was
one
in
with
that?
Alexander Daddario and Scott Eastwood. and
Oh
it's
yeah.
a fucking terrible movie. It's a bad like it's one of those movies that's perpetually on free streaming services.
I did like the Jessica Biel one.
Well, yeah, that was actually a good movie. This was
Yeah,
not.
I like that one. So and then we saw fucking Patch.
Oh, that was
Patch
so
was
perfect.
cool. We
Dude, by
got
the
to
way,
see
seeing the John Byrne Wolverine costume, I'm like, that works really well on camera. Like I have my nostalgia for this guy right here,
for the brown
but
suit,
yeah, but the brown suit
the brown
works
suit,
really well on camera.
and fuck, fucking Hulk. It's so quick, but Hulk was in this movie.
And apparently, Jen was telling me is actually she confirmed it was actually the Ed Norton Hulk,
Oh.
which is
Yeah, we got to
fucking
see
funny.
we got to see the reflection of Hulk in the claws. Um, we got to see Short King Wolverine.
Short comic book Wolverine was amazing. I
It
get
was
what
so
they're
little.
doing. I get that they're making fun of the fans who want to have height
Yeah,
accurate Wolverine, but
because it
I'm
was definitely
also
shorter. He was definitely shorter than he should have been.
but they
Yeah.
clearly like digitally fucked with them to make them look derpy as shit.
Yeah. And then
Also, is it weird how light Wolverine is when Wolverine is supposed to be so heavy that people are like, "What the fuck?" Because that man flies across the room for nothing.
he does. And then shit, we also saw Old Man Logan.
Oh, I know that was awesome. It was
That was
weird
pretty
because it kind
cool.
of looked like him, not really.
Yeah. Because our boy Hugh Jackman is going to be doing this until he's 90 apparently. But so we saw Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, brown suit versus Hulk. We saw Patch. We saw Short King, Cavalry. What did we? Am I missing any? Old
I
Man
think that's all
Logan.
of them.
So after all of them like take turns like fucking him up, um, he finally lands on the Wolverine that we see like in the trailers, who like is apparently like a pariah, and snatches him up and
Yep.
takes him back to the TVA, and he's just like, okay, here's I'm gonna replace him with him, and then he's just like, nah.
Oh, and because of the perpetual man hetero man love that Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds have now, that's actually him as one of the two. Apparently, he's one of the TVA soldiers.
I thought I heard something about that one, like his little spot like getting cut. Was it in there or did it get cut?
I think he's in there, but I think he's just helmeted, so you don't actually know it's him.
Okay. We'll
And
just say it's headcanon that that's him.
that Mac is part of the TVA.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than Dennis being part of the TVA because that sounds terrifying.
Although admittedly Danny DeVito being Wolverine is still in the cards.
That would have been great if Danny DeVito was in there as one. He should have been Short King Wolverine.
I'm
Or
slashing.
so, and that's the thing, because shit, like they could have had him in there as like Earth X Wolverine, because
That's true.
Alex Ross like based his design off of Danny DeVito, and
My
that
guy.
version actually got to marry Jean Grey.
I'm
So,
sorry. I would as soon as you mentioned that, I immediately thought of. So anyway, I started slashing.
I mean, that's accurate. That's fucking accurate. Um, so they end up getting pruned, which, as everybody who has seen Loki, which should be everybody who's watching this right now, they should know that basically takes them to like the end of time, or the garbage, the garbage bin of time,
I'm going to do
where,
one thing before we continue. This has to happen,
oh,
and
oh
I'm
my God,
sorry. I apologize.
so long as it's not macking me, I'm fine.
Yes.
I don't know if they wanted money or they wanted something more sexual.
Wow.
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces.
My guns.
Oh. Wow.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot them in the back. But I don't run so good either. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
Now, weren't you concerned, though, that an innocent bystander may
Look,
have...
crime in this city is out of control. Thank God I went down to Gunther's Guns and picked up a spare. I don't think one would have done it. I'm going to go out and buy some more.
Okay.
And
Still better than Joker 2017. Take that, DC fans.
Oh God, I'm not. Let's let's talk about something that's gonna be fun.
Take that, Joker
Which
fans.
is
Ah,
this movie.
yeah.
Fuck that Joker movie that's about to come out. So
I
I
still
hope
kind of want to see it. It's like this gross curiosity.
I hope it tanks so bad.
It's not going to, sadly. Edward's got edge.
Yeah, I know. Because they just want to be hardcore, I guess. Um, so speaking of hardcore shit, they Deadpool and Wolverine end up beating the living shit out of each other when they get after they get pruned,
In a
and we see
Honda
that little
Odyssey.
sequence. No, that's later.
Oh, that's later. That's
But
the other time they beat the shit out of
this
each other.
one, this one they fight up against like the backdrop of like the 21st century or the 20th century Fox
Logo as it's being
logo.
destroyed. So why is
Uh,
this the most violent Martin and Lewis comedy ever?
it just is. It has
Because
to be.
I'm sorry, I'm watching this. I'm like, I feel old because I feel like if I went online, it was like, so this is a Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis comedy with blood that nobody would understand.
This is basically fucking They Live.
Except more zany.
Yeah. It's with healing factors and adamantium katanas and claws and shit. So and then the way that they fought was I thought it was very good. I'm glad that they each got like their licks in. Um and trying to remember, I think eventually like the fight gets interrupted
Oh, and I
as
appreciated the Spider-Man reference in that scene. The fact that he's literally doing the same like wonky fight choreography as Spider-Man and Flash Thompson.
yeah, I wouldn't want to fight me neither, basically. Uh
You get him, Ezra Miller.
you get him. So their fight gets basically like interrupted slash stopped with a very special guest.
They're fucking Sabretooth.
No, I'm talking
Oh wait,
about
so what did they come up with later? I was drunk.
uh
Um,
I'm talking about our boy uh who I was so excited. Fucking Chris Evans shows up and it's such a bait and switch move. He looks like he's gonna be fucking Captain America and he turns out to be
the guy from Scott Pilgrim.
yes. Uh and that's what happens when you do that sit grind that's down like 6,000 feet of rail.
You
You just
die.
disintegrate and you prune yourself. No, but he's Johnny fucking Storm.
Which was amazing. Oh my God.
That was such a hard left turn.
Dude, seeing his fire powers actually not look like shit was really nice.
That was cool, but I didn't appreciate the slander where they had Pyro like take his flame. So I feel like
That's not even
human.
slander. That's actually what he would be able to do.
No, I feel like Johnny would fuck him up. I really feel like Johnny would fuck up. Let me have they fought in the comics? We gotta look this up real quick. Have they fought in the comics before? Because I can't see the Human Torch losing to Pyro. That
Well,
just
you know,
sounds like bullshit.
honestly, with the way his powers work, though, it makes sense because it's like, yeah, you're literally going to absorb all the fucking fire that he can like control and take his fire away from him.
Yeah, but Johnny also has the ability to absorb like heat, like
Well, yeah,
not
I
just
don't,
like generate flame.
I don't care about the Fantastic Four.
I mean, clearly they
The
didn't
only,
care much about the Fantastic Four here either because
except Mark Wade's run. Mark Wade's Fantastic Four is awesome.
oh, you talked about the comics? No, I like the comics. Have you not read like the recent like Dan Slott stuff?
Oh yeah, that was actually good. But
That's really good.
there's also a time where comics were getting really expensive, and I just kind of stopped reading them physically.
So you got to do the Marvel Unlimited, dude.
I know, I do, I know.
I know we keep on bringing it up in hopes that they'll maybe somehow sponsor us, and then they
Give us
probably
free
watch it
stuff.
and they're just like, what did he just say? Cum gutters? And
He says
then
it all the time. It's his thing.
that's my catchphrase, really. Like
It's his catchphrase and his secret shame. And by
I'm
secret shame, I mean happy shame.
I'm disappointed that we didn't get to see Thanos's cum gutters, but
Dude,
maybe in
his face is come getters.
that is true. That is great. Yeah.
You know when you say something and then you're like immediately like, what the fuck did I just say?
Yeah. I'm so glad.
It's my life.
I'm just gonna let it break you for a second.
Wolverine is judging me back here. Right there. It's fucking judging me.
Right in front of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
How dare
And
you?
Mystique's ass. Where is it? There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Mystique's ass is also judging me. I'm fine with that.
She does not have room to judge anybody about anything. So they after Human Torch gets controversially taken out by Pyro.
Was it though?
Yeah. Um and I thought he died the way that he fell. I really
Oh yeah,
thought
he
he
snapped his
fucking
neck.
died. He looked like he was dead as fuck, but he was still alive. They get captured. Um Thanks to, the Mad Max shenanigans from this Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. There's Pyro there, from the X-Men trilogy. Toad is there. Sabretooth is there.
I know.
Sabretooth
Oh my
got,
God.
slightly fucked up.
Okay. He dead. He dead quick.
Only a little bit. Um, I
That upset me though, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually looking forward to this fight. Oh, you're gonna samurai it? Okay.
yeah, but I mean, I appreciate the fact that they were just like, okay, if this is like the R-rated version of this fight, that's how it would go.
Yeah.
Because this version of Sabretooth does not have like adamantium anything. Like why would Wolverine just not cut his fucking head off like he did?
I know.
It
That's
just makes sense.
well, come on. You don't like the Ultimate X-Men run where he has adamantium now and adamantium teeth? Come on, man. You don't like Mark Miller's
Well,
Ultimate X-Men?
I
I've
appreciate the
got them
fact that
signed back there, man.
even Wolverine in that one made fun of him for that. He was just like, "Oh yeah, like this is totally gonna help you avoid, everybody making fun of you for being like a Kmart version of me."
That's the
And
most
he's like,
Mark
"Oh,
Miller
I got
dialogue ever.
I got four claws instead of three." And Wolverine's just like, "Yeah, I'm still gonna fuck you up."
Hey, come on. You leave Mark Miller the delivery pizza of comic books alone. Okay. I remember I got so many people mad at me on Facebook when I would just call it when I was like, this is before Mark Miller started put out like three whole decent comics. Where I went online and just said Mark Miller is the pizza of comic books.
I did,
And
so I did like his Ultimates run, just for, I think that just felt very cinematic the way
oh,
that it
it
was
really did.
presented.
Because of Brian
So
Hitch,
yeah,
not because of Mark Miller.
it was both, I think,
Oh, I know. I just like Mark Miller
because
shit.
they crib so much for the MCU from the Ultimate run.
Samuel
Not
Jackson, man.
just yeah, not just the Samuel L. Jackson Fury,
I know,
but
I know.
so
I'm glad they didn't
back.
crib Hulk
Yeah, that was a weird version
or
of Hulk.
Black
I'm
Widow.
glad. Um, yeah, but they definitely have like Ultimate Hawkeye vibes.
Ultimate Hawkeye is fucking awesome in that comic book.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot to kind of make him a little bit more relevant for this shit. And they have elements also of like Ultimate Thor. They it felt like they increased MCU's cap to be like more in line with like Ultimate Cap strength levels
But
because
not his personality, thank God.
yeah, not his douchebaggery. But I will say though, like it feels like that was only part of like Miller's Ultimate Cap because
Yeah,
for a
because
lot
Warren
of
Ellis
like
is, despite the
yeah,
fact that, oh, by the way, is it weird that in life that we realize Warren Ellis is actually like, even though Miller says some dumb shit, that Warren Ellis was the one who turned out to be a real piece of garbage? Is that
that is
weird?
yeah, and it's kind of like kept me from like going back to watch more of Castlevania.
Oh, and I'm not reading, going back to read Transmetropolitan because I'm like, oh, there's a lot of you in this comic.
I mean, it does end up being I do like some of like Transmetro for like what it says about like what it means to be like a writer and an author and kind of like an observer of humanity, but whenever like something that's a little bit too like obviously like edgelord gets up in its own ass, like it becomes very obvious to anybody who's not 13. Because when you're growing up reading like kind of edgelord comics like The Dark Knight Returns, you start to like see that and recognize that very, very quickly when you grow up.
Can
But
we talk about something real quick?
what's up?
Even though acting wise, Liev Schreiber is still the best Sabretooth in my opinion.
Hmm.
When it comes to pure like intensity and like this person looks like they could just fucking murder me without thinking twice.
Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane. Oh my God. I forget that that dude is 6'10".
He's
Because that
6'10".
is,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Because you have to remember that he's Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies.
Oh, see?
And apparently he is one of the nicest people on earth. Like he loves taking like he gets super happy whenever there's like a little Mikey at Halloween, at Comic Con or any horror convention. He'll take pictures of little Mikeys. And
He
apparently
does look like
Derek,
he would be secretly nice. I can see that.
oh, and Derek Mears, the Jason from the Friday the 13th remake, whenever they're together, if there's like little Mikey, little Jasons, there was actually a
Hmm.
picture of them with like two kids dressed as Mikey and Jason. I'm just holding them up in the air for the picture.
And so how tall is that other guy?
Derek Mears is also fucking huge. And the funny thing is, for anyone who, I think, I could be wrong, but I think Derek Mears is also involved with God of War as well, or at least he should be. Okay, he's not, but he was Swamp Thing in the live action Swamp Thing show.
Oh, I still haven't seen that. Like you're talking about the more
It's
recent one, right?
yeah, the one. Oh, he's
Yeah.
6'5".
Okay. So
So I
dang,
mean,
Tyler
could
Mane
be
still has some height on him.
yeah, and
I'm busting out my Wolverine right now
nice.
because
He's about the
busting
right.
makes me feel good.
He's about it's about stuff.
I just watched the new Ghostbusters movie and Paul
I
Rudd
still
makes
need to
fun
watch
of
it. It's
that.
on Netflix.
He makes fun of that line. And he's talking about that and he's like, you know what? Busting makes me feel good.
By the way, we need to move on to Emma Corwin as Cassandra Nova, who is
She
not
did a
getting
really good
nearly.
job.
Why is everyone like, oh, she's underwhelming, blah? I'm like, no, she's fucking perfect as Cassandra
So
Nova.
guys, so like this is the thing that bugs me. I guess the thing that just like bugs me
Like
in
they
general is
try
like
to
the
call her a typical
people.
MCU villain. I'm like, that's horseshit.
No, guys, like fucking. This is the same thing. So whenever people talk about like a bad MCU show or a bad Disney Plus show, like when, like for example, people were recently shitting all over like The Acolyte, right? Because, totally not racist or misogynistic reasons.
Oh,
But
completely, man. What are you
yeah,
talking about?
I'm
Incels
sure
on the
there
internet?
were,
What?
they were all totally legitimate reasons where they all said bad acting, bad writing, and had no specifics whatsoever. So
And
anyway,
Daphne King kicking all sorts of ass on that show. I wish she had lasted
she
till the end of
did.
the series.
She did. She was pretty awesome. So the thing that where people like say like, oh, that's all that they're standard. So when you talk about like bad shows or bad examples of like Disney or MCU products, so look at The Acolyte, Disney Plus show. Look at fucking Secret Invasion.
But I stopped.
Secret
I
Invasion.
gave up in the third
That's an
episode.
actually bad show. That was such a chore to get through because it was bad.
Yeah. The only good scenes in there were basically any scene with Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn. Who I'm like, can you please be in the show together? A good show? Because
Yeah.
all their scenes were amazing. And I'm like, I gave up 3 episodes in. I'm like, I'm fucking done.
That's a bad show. Also, when you talk about, and so when getting back to like Cassandra Nova, when you want to talk shit about like her portrayal, compare that to the villain for the Marvels.
Which is a good movie, except the villain. The villain was
Yeah,
legitimately
the
lame.
villain was so like that was such a lame, bland villain. So Cassandra Nova was actually fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Like the
She was scary, she was powerful, she was smart. Like what is your deal?
Also,
Like,
I do appreciate the fact that apparently she shaved. I do appreciate the fact that she shaved her own head. That she actually shaved her own head for that role.
yeah, and then did
And I
you
don't mean like
see
someone
her?
shaved it for her. I mean she actually shaved her own head for that
Did
role.
you see her as Princess Diana in The Crown?
I need to watch that. I really do after
Yeah,
seeing this.
she did a good job with that. And to the point where like when they eventually like because you know The Crown does like multiple versions of the characters as they like age them up. I was a little bit sad to see her go when they eventually replaced her with Elizabeth Debicki. So even though Elizabeth Debicki is really cool, she did such a good job with the character that I was a little bit sad to see her go. But she
Yeah.
did a really good job in this movie. She was anybody who says like she was just like standard, like think about like your standard forgettable like MCU ones. That's we're talking like Whiplash
Or Ronan.
or yeah, like
Or
Ronan.
female Ronan. I hate to say
Yeah,
it that way, but
that's I don't really. What was her name?
female Ronan.
Darbin, which
That's not even doesn't sound like a name.
Jesus,
That sounds like a background character in a Star Wars movie.
like you might as well name your character Cable.
Oh, and I love the throwback to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That whole Frank quietly, or is it quietly or quietly?
Scottish. There you
I'm
go.
sure there's like
I'm
a
Scottish, and I'm like, I don't know what this man means.
so yeah, that was I thought that was kind of like a good way. And so like they make it clear in the movie as I'm opening up my Deadpool. So they make it clear in the movie that her powers are a little bit different than Charles. She says like she has to get like more like hands-on, right? In order to at least do like the psychic part.
That
Which
was
I thought was like
terrible.
kind of like a good limitation for her because otherwise she would have probably been like way too powerful
Yeah,
for
all
them
of
to
them would be
even
dead within like
think
seconds.
about like attacking her. So, um, but she does have like strong telekinesis, which our poor boy Johnny found out the hard way. Um,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty great though. Deadpool was just trying to, I guess he was just trying to see what she was capable of. And just like bringing up that mad shit talking that he did. That
Oh,
Wolverine's just kind of like, could you stop? He's gonna
oh,
kill him.
and just some nightmare fuel for everybody. This is actually what that in the comics is a tribute to from the movie The Thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was so
that
fuck
part is
though.
still disturbing. But she's just dragging. Well, he's just dragging him behind him.
Yeah, that was creepy as fuck. Look, baby knife.
Aw, it's adorable. Hold on.
Um,
Put it back up. Put it back up. Boop. Okay.
so
Gotta give it. I
uh,
don't want to give it the.
the so poor Johnny gets unalived.
Fucking skinned.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
skinned, and then
And then blooped.
his body collapses as Deadpool puts it as the sand greedily drank up his blood.
I love Shen's reaction. Is that his whole scene? Is he
Uh
out of the movie? Yep.
yeah, unless there's some kind of special
Superpower that we don't know about.
yeah. So and they did kind of also so they show Wolverine he does get like a chance to attack Sandra Nova, but she regains the upper hand. So that was also part of like the from the comics too, because I think at some point in the comics he like stabs the shit out of her, but she just kind of keeps on going. Um, so she's obviously like insanely powerful. She's kind of like the head of like this new you know, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants here. It was a little bit sad to see, like other than like Tyler Mane. I'm not even sure. Did Ray Park play Toad in
Yes.
this or no? He
Ray
did.
Park came
Okay,
back
okay.
as Toad.
Um,
Kelly Boo Who, yeah.
yeah.
Kelly Who came back as Deathstrike.
Did she?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm sure. That
Are
was
you?
actually her. That was her. Some people, okay, remember we were talking earlier about people who decided to stop aging?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Like
I'll have to go
I know
back and
she
see that part.
Now, here's the thing: she's had some work done in recent years, so you
Uh-huh.
may not automatically recognize her, but it
Uh,
still looks like her.
hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that was her.
that's surprising because I thought I didn't see it at first. Um, so there, and then they also like recasted a couple other folk. I think they had like a Psylocke there who was recast from
Yeah,
Olivia Munn.
which is
She,
understandable considering the breast cancer scare that she had.
yeah, and I didn't think a lot of people like talk shit about her Psylocke. I don't think she was bad.
No, she was great. The movie was bad, but she was great. Also, I love the fact that it shows you how fucking incompetent the people who had some of the X-Men movies really were when they didn't actually know when she had to explain to them that Captain Britain is the brother of Psylocke. I'm like,
Yeah,
your actors should not have to explain this to you. You should be
and
doing your research back and forth for your movie.
so like going back to Cavill, I kind of hope that he ends up playing Captain Britain or Hyperion.
Hyperion, yes, I prefer that we have the Betsy Captain Britain.
Yeah. Um, so they are there, obviously, and they're trying to fight Cassandra Nova. It's not going well, and they had to fucking dip the fuck out of there because Elias from Loki is there, and is
I
about
love seeing
to
that.
murder some folks.
Well, yeah, but hold on. Elias didn't. Okay, I may be wrong,
What's
but
that?
Elias shows up after we introduce a couple of the other characters, right?
Like which ones?
Like some of the other
The other
some of the other
Resistance
variants.
guys?
Yeah.
No, no, no. No, he shows up
Oh wait, no,
before.
he shows up before and then after.
He shows up and then yeah, like he's there because basically Cassandra Nova is like feeding Alioth these variants and shit like that. Except she seems very fascinated with Wolverine. She wants to like get in his head, but doesn't get a chance to yet.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that scene because that scene was really well done.
Yeah, that was really good. But before that happens, they're able to escape, and that's where we get to see them in their little like diner scene from the trailers, just talking shit about each other. And eventually they find a fucking Honda Odyssey that you were talking about, which
The
Deadpool really
greatest
hates.
fucking fight scene ever. Jesus. Oh, and I
So,
appreciated the good word about Kia. As somebody who has a Kia Soul, thank you. Thank you, Deadpool.
um, I don't like Kia Souls, but that's me.
Well, that's okay because people are allowed to be wrong, and well,
I
there you
feel
go.
like I feel like
We're gonna
so
stop that far. We're gonna keep going.
so so earlier we were talking about the fact that like Deadpool is used to being like the number one shit talker, but looking back, especially if you did like a rewatch of some of like the Fox X-Men movies,
Oh, Blind Al is number shit talker of Deadpool.
you
But
can
there's still a Deadpool.
see that like Wolverine, obviously, like he's got a mean streak too. So when Deadpool tries like talking shit to him, he talks shit to Deadpool like right back and just like cuts to the core of it because really at the end of the day his lady left him because he wasn't making anything of himself. And Wolverine just kind of like he cuts right to that, and Deadpool's like, "All right, we're gonna fight now." And so, uh, the Honda Odyssey fight, the greatest possibly Honda Odyssey fight of all time, happens. So we get another chance to see Wolverine and Deadpool fucking each other up,
That was
and
insane.
um,
Also, somehow that car still drove, which I don't understand.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I feel like that car definitely should have been in pieces afterwards.
It's like
So,
a total loss, except 5 times over and on fire.
um, but one thing that I thought it was kind of interesting, they kind of like had to do, I feel like. So if you remember, like in the first Deadpool, when Ajax stabs Deadpool in the head with the knife, and it kind of like dazes him for a bit. Whereas here, I think there's at least one or two times where Deadpool gets the claws like straight through his fucking head and
Yeah.
keeps on going. So I think they had to do that. Otherwise, it might have been
Really
over
fast
too
movie.
quickly. It
Yeah.
would have been almost as quick, almost as as
Almost fast as
fast.
the Sabretooth fight.
Yeah, almost as fast as that.
Oh, I love the detail about him getting the adamantium swords now.
Yeah, they had to. They had to have give him some adamantium swords because otherwise, like, he would have, yeah, sliced
Just
through those
like
fucking swords.
Klain, fucking bends and shit.
Yeah,
It's like was it
but
that Blood the Last Vampire anime where it's like, oh fuck, why do I have a fake sword?
so this fight like goes on so long that it actually fades out, which I thought was like a nice little touch because there's just sounds of them just like fucking each other up, and it just fades off and fades to black until eventually it comes back and like Wolverine is just like sleeping and Deadpool is all tied up in the fucking in the seat belts and shit. And there was somebody there who drives them away while they're like this. And then we finally get to see the resistance fighters in some of
Ah,
some of the best and some of the worst like kept secrets from like the cameos from the movie. So Ian, do you want to talk about these resistance guys?
yes. Okay, I'm gonna start off with Channing Tatum, this Gambit, because holy shit. Okay, people. Okay, for those who don't understand, everyone knows about the Channing Tatum Gambit movie that was supposed to happen with him and Leah Sado, which I was looking forward to because also not mostly because of Tatum back then, because Tatum hadn't really proven himself at that point, because this is still like GI Joe era Channing Tatum, but more so the fact that Leah Sado was going to play Belladonna, which is which for anyone who knows their Gambit, which Michael doesn't, um, would know that's pretty awesome. That's actually really spot on casting. Also, they're classing that shit up for Belladonna. Crazy, crazy lady. Um, but he has been a fan of Gambit since he was a kid. And when he came to Comic Con this year, he was wearing the same Gambit shirt that he wore in 2014. And I don't mean that I don't mean that it was a recreation of the same shirt. I mean, shirt was faded as shit because you could tell that he was wearing that he had been not only wearing the shirt for Comic Con, but just wearing the shirt on the regular. Which, of course, you and I know nothing about wearing like nerd shirts that are made for college students in their late teens, early 20s, all the time.
Yeah, I think this shirt is like 10 years old now.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find this.
And
Okay,
then so
here we go. I found it. I need to show this so people can understand how much of a fucking nerd this man is. That shirt is faded. I think this shirt is more faded. I think he got another shirt, which is also faded. He wore this in 2014 San Diego Comic Con. No, 2015. And then he wore this in 2024 for San Diego Comic Con. The exact same shirt.
yeah, I remember when they like rolled him out as, yeah, this guy's gonna be Gambit. And it was very similar to how they rolled out the folks for the like the Dark Monster Universe movies.
Oh, and when Stan Lee was having trouble getting up the stairs, no one else was paying attention because they're all looking at the fucking cameras in the crowd. He was the guy who actually helped Stan Lee up the stairs when the guy couldn't make it up the stairs. I'm like, God damn it, it's Channing Tatum, good guy.
Yeah.
And seriously,
Like as much as
watching,
people have like talked shit about like, his acting and, some of his like missteps in terms of like the movie selection, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say him anything bad about him like as a person.
oh no, what? And by the way, watching his take on the character, I'm I'm happy to have been wrong because I was one of those who was like, oh, that would be the worst fucking casting ever. And then X-Men Origins happened, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe not so bad. Um,
There's
Search what I
there's a
will.
lot bad about X-Men Origins where
Oh God,
they cram.
we need to do a bonus review of that
And
movie.
that's kind of like another thing where like I know there's some people who would want to bash this movie and say it's just like cameo porn and like all these people just showing up to be like thin like weak versions of like the character. But then look again in the same way like when you're talking about like bad Disney Plus movies, look at The Acolyte versus Secret Invasion. Look at fucking all these cameos and how they're handled, and then look at something like X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I'm
That had so many like fucked up like thin versions of the characters that were uh just not good.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of well-kept secrets, I had no idea Channing Tatum was going to be in this movie.
Yeah, you
They,
know, but he's kind of been showing up in like a little bit of everything. Um, so when you think about it, he showed up for a second like in what was that? Shit, what was it called? What was it called? What are the other Ryan Reynolds movie? Was it? No, I don't want to
I
say
haven't, no,
Free Guy.
I
Free
haven't seen
Guy.
Free Guy yet, but I need to, especially because I've heard it actually plays back into Chris Evans' appearance in this.
Yeah, Free Guy is surprisingly solid. I remember seeing like trailers for it and thinking like, oh, this is just gonna be like a Ready Player One ripoff. Um, it's gonna
I've
be
heard it's a lot better than Ready Player One.
it's I think it's just as good, but then again, I'm somebody who still likes Ready Player One. I know there's been especially folks, I haven't read the book, so
Oh, the
I'm
books
sure there
suck. The books are
I've heard
fucking terrible. The movie is
really?
better. Oh
Oh,
yeah, the
okay.
books are misogynistic as shit.
Are they? Oh
Yeah.
shit. So he's in that and he's very funny like in the brief bit that he's in Free Guy. Um so also we knew that Jennifer Garner was going to be in this
Oh, for
as
any Mystery
Elektra.
Science Theater fans, especially the episode Zombie for the movie Zombie Nightmare with Tia Claire and Adam West, that is director Sean Levy of Free Guy and Deadpool fame and Stranger Things
He looks so 80s.
as the douchiest guy in the movie. This is the guy who actually runs over Thor with a car.
He looks like he's going to be running with the vampires and telling and giving maggots to poor Michael. Um so
It's Biscotti. It's Biscotti.
So, so Jennifer Garner's in this. She's
Kicking
reprising her
ass.
role as Elektra. She looked built too. She looked like she was ready to fuck shit up.
Oh, and by
And
the
that
way, in that 10 minutes she's in the movie, or 10 to 20 minutes she's in the movie,
yeah.
you realize how much they fucking wasted her in Daredevil and Elektra in the movies.
Well, yeah.
Because
They there
she's
was
so good in this
there
and
was a
so
lot of
fucking
there was a lot of
badass.
missteps like back in those days. But there were some good things, and I'm glad that they like we're talking about when it comes to the Channing Tatum gambit and having Elektra here, there were some things that, we didn't really get a chance to see them shine, and now we're getting to see it. Um, Daphne Keene is back. She plays Laura, aka
Which
X-23.
brings us back to Acolyte. Funny enough.
Yes. Um, and I kind of wish she was in it a little bit more, honestly, for like how much like she was built up, but she did get her time to shine. But for me, like the biggest surprise was fucking Wesley Snipes
Oh my God.
as
Like,
Blade.
it
I did
sucks because
not
someone
see that
spoiled it for me
coming.
online. Someone actually spoiled that shit for me.
Oh, that sucks.
But I didn't want to tell Jen at all because I know she didn't know.
Hmm.
And so when he popped up and he had that little bit of gray soul, that little bit of gray right there, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is some fucking Venture Brothers shit, and I love it.
And then let me see something actually. One thing that kind of like
I'm assuming, Michael, you've seen Venture Brothers. I don't have to explain.
I've seen a little bit of it. Let me see something real quick. I can't remember. One thing that kind of like fucked me up a little bit. Yeah, so okay, I guess it was because I always like whenever I look back at the Blade movies, I always associate them more with like New Line rather than 20th Century Fox, but it looks like uh Fox still produced it and distributed it.
There you go.
So
Jefferson
it still
Twilight.
lines up. Um yeah. Did he voice them?
He did not, but Jefferson Twilight
Ah,
is
that's
basically a retired version of Blade. They even put
that's
him in
too
the yellow
bad.
costume from the in the comic books.
So Wesley Snipes is in it, and they even make like a little joke about Wesley Snipes not liking Ryan Reynolds. Um, and they also make some jokes at poor Ben Affleck's sad Affleck's expense when they talk about essentially like this group is like a bunch of like hardcore survivors, and then they started talking about some of the guys that tried making a run at Cassandra Nova, like Punisher, and they don't really specify like which Punisher because there's
It's
been
like
so
they've been said
many.
because there's like five of them.
It's basically like whoever you want it to be.
By the way,
And
am I the
then
only one who was really hoping that we could find some way to get a Dolph Lundgren Punisher cameo in there?
I
It's like,
mean
why is that man naked in the sewers? Mm.
that would have been cool. I'm sure he would have been down for it too, but they also talk about how Daredevil isn't around. He tried to make a run, and then
Electra wasn't too concerned about that.
she was like, "It's fine, whatever. Fuck that guy."
By the way,
Um,
I'm going to say this for anyone who hasn't seen the director's cut of Daredevil, it's actually good. Like, it's not amazing, but it's significantly better than the theatrical cut
yeah,
and shows how things have story structure and not cutting a half an hour to your movie can help your movie, especially when the producer comes on and does a commentary with the director. You know, Avi Arad, everyone's favorite legitimate producer, telling the director, "Oh no, this worked much better because the pacing was faster." And Mark
yeah.
Steve Johnson, director of Ghost Rider, saying, and I quote, "No, you're wrong. You don't understand this. You don't understand filmmaking."
So speaking of Mark Steven Johnson, so one thing that kind of like messed me up as I was watching it, and we were thinking about these
I
other
had to put that out there because I'm like, director of Daredevil's legitimately actually good, minus the
the
playground fight. Unfortunately, it's still there.
what I was gonna say is like it messed me up because I was thinking for a second like, hey, like wouldn't it be cool if we saw like bits of like Ghost Rider, but Ghost Rider was under Sony, it looks like
Yeah. Oh,
Sony
and it
and
was very
Columbia.
odd seeing new Bullseye, I guess.
Yeah, there was a version of Bullseye there, so um and that's not the only guy that got recast. They recast Juggernaut,
You know
like we
what?
talked about
Juggernaut looked
earlier.
fucking great though.
He
And
looked decent, but that's just a still. I mean, that's just shitty design though.
but it totally is. But like you could tell the guy wasn't inserted into his like body makeup.
Yeah, and there's like a
Like it's
little
like, yes,
rubber suit
get a
thing.
fucking giant, dude. It still looks
Um,
shitty.
yeah,
That's better.
but I can see, based off of what they end up talking about, so they come up with a plan to go at Cassandra Nova, and they talk about like, oh, like we need to be able to resist her psychic powers, so let's use Magneto's helmet. And she's like, Magneto's dead. Like she murdered the fuck out of Magneto and then melted down his helmet. So they try to get Juggernaut's helmet. So that's probably why they went with that, shitty design. But at the end of the day, that's a more manageable helmet than the
The one for like
Juggernaut
Deadpool
from
2.
Deadpool 2. Yeah.
It's like, hold
So
on. My hands are passing through the CGI.
so they're um
Actually, that
so
would have been really funny.
I was about to say, speaking of which, that'd have been sweet if Kitty Pryde was there, but that would have been too much.
Oh,
That would have been
quick thing
overload.
for people who don't know. I'm assuming everyone knows that Ryan Reynolds was the voice of Juggernaut in Deadpool 2.
And if you don't, now you do.
I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
And I don't have to look that up because the part of my brain that remembers things like math was removed and replaced with the part of knows bullshit.
Yeah, who needs math? Fucking nerds.
Ugh.
Um,
See? Nailed it. I don't need fucking sentences. Listeners.
so so they come up with this plan. Wolverine doesn't want to go along with it, but he gets kind of like talked up by X-23. Um, so they go at Cassandra Nova, and I was kind of surprised that they actually got to fight because I felt like they were gonna do like a bait and switch. I thought they were gonna build them up and they're gonna be like, all right, we're here, we're gonna fuck them up. And then even I think Deadpool makes a comment, he's like, I think you guys are about to die. I really thought that they were about to get fucked up and just like taken off the board,
I know.
kind of
I really
like
was hoping they weren't.
X-Force. And I was dreading it, and I was just like, ugh,
That would have pissed me off so
like
much.
you just showed them and you hyped them up, and we're gonna be badasses, and now, oh, please don't kill them, please don't kill them. And they actually got to fight, which was nice. Even though some of them were definitely punching above their weight class, I will say. Like I expected Elektra to get taken out like very quickly, given like all like the firepower Um, but she still holds her own and like gets to fuck people up. We get to see more like fighting with like Lady Deathstrike. Oh, another person who showed up from the other X-Men movies was Azazel.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Pyro.
Well, yeah, but he actually was still played by what's his name? Like Aaron something, right?
Yeah, and so Azazel was played by his original actor as well.
Was he?
I believe so.
I
Let
thought
me
they
check.
recast him because that dude has like a more like distinct face, I thought.
He kind of looks like Skeletor all the time. Is that
Um,
wrong of me to say that?
I mean, there's a lot of people that look like Skeletor.
Like Kevin Bacon?
Yeah. I mean, he'd probably make like a pretty badass Skeletor, honestly.
Actually, that'd be kind of fucking awesome. I mean, the Toxic Avenger movie's not coming out anytime soon, which sucks because that movie is apparently amazing.
Wait. Was that one where Peter Dinklage
Wait,
was supposed to be the Toxic Avenger?
yes, and it got amazing reviews. It got a festival release, and it's still having trouble getting distribution.
Huh.
And it's
That's
a fucking legendary picture release.
okay.
Yeah, this movie technically came out last year.
It like has anybody seen it then?
It's been seen in festivals. It's got like a 66 on Metacritic, which is actually pretty damn good for a Toxic Avenger remake. And it's got Taylor Page, Kevin Bacon, Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, and Elijah Wood. And this cannot pick up get a distributor. Oh, and it's directed by Macon Blair. So it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Hmm.
Sorry, I had to go off on that aside because, well, Kevin Bacos. Um, I could be wrong.
And
I'm gonna look it up right now. I probably am wrong because I'm wrong on
I
many
don't
things.
see anybody listed for Azazel, and that guy's done some
You're right.
pretty.
That was not Jason Fleming,
Okay, yeah. About to say because
which
he
is too
definitely
bad
would have
because
been
Jason Fleming
listed.
is such a cool actor.
Yeah, he's a really good character actor, honestly.
I
Um,
remember the first time I recognized him was from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and he just started popping up and everything.
yeah, he's been in a lot of
He's been in
just
so
popping up
much
here
that
and
literally, if we
there,
talk
like
about his
in
career, it will take up this entire
Stardust,
podcast.
fucking X-Men, obviously. Yeah, I like him. So, like, I was really glad to see that these resistance fighters weren't like immediately taken out. Everybody got their own like little cool moments. They really felt like they were making an effort to highlight Gambit too, because
Dude,
they got to show him.
the way they used his powers, I
It was
love the
pretty
fact
spot
that,
on.
but I love the fact the change that I like is that I love the fact that he was such a good fighter in terms of knowing how his powers work. Because there are some
Yeah.
mutants where it's like you don't know how your powers work, do you? And for him, he's like, oh no, I basically use it like a time bomb, which was the coolest fucking scene because it's like this is like this would be like Omega level Gambit because it's like he knows exactly how the powers work. He's like, I know where I need you to be, and I know where I need to be. And I'm like, oh, so you would have got killed by a bunch of Sentinels.
Yeah, and he got to use
And
his
yes, I'm going to be
bow
that way because
staff.
it's there you go. Oh, that was so fucking cool the way they use the bow staff. Basically
Yeah,
just
he
charging it.
got to use the bow staff. We got to see. I think Blade fought like Deathstrike for a second. I think
That was
Elektra did as well.
that was
Um,
awesome.
got some got some stabby stab in. I didn't see a whole lot of action, honestly, from Juggernaut for most of the fight, and then he ended up getting fucked up.
I know we're
Which,
trying to get the Mahershala Ali Blade movie out there, but I'm
mhm.
watching this movie and I'm like, Wesley Snipes is 61 years old. Wesley Snipes could still just be Blade in a Blade MCU movie, and nobody would blink an eye.
I mean, it could be like I think when they were kicking around the idea of like another Blade movie before Wesley got in trouble with the law, is I think there was a concept for him being like an older Blade, and he was like passing the torch to like his daughter or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think his daughter is making more of becoming more prominent in the comics right now. I think there's been like a recent like storyline with the vampires because with Jason Aaron's like Avengers, they built up like the vampires a lot, and then they were Marvel went overboard with events for a few years and was just doing too many events, and I think it kind of like derailed his plans because they built up the vampires a lot, and that's why they brought Blade onto the Avengers.
Blade of
And
the Avengers was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I like that concept a lot. But like I said, it got kind of derailed, and we are only now getting to see like the fruits of that. Um, but I'm not sure what direction they're gonna go with, or I kind of feel like Mahershala Ali is gonna leave the project because I think he did sign on to be like in the next iteration of the Jurassic Park movies along with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh
And
yeah, more Jurassic Park movies.
yeah, but at least it won't be Chris Pratt.
I know, but and at least it won't be fucking Colin, whatever the fuck his name is, the fucking idiot who everyone's like, "This guy should have made of Star Wars Episode 9." It's like, should he
Colin
have
Trevorrow.
Colin Trevorrow? It's like the
Yeah.
fucking hack moron who made what was that piece of shit with oh god, that was what was
Are
that
you talking
fucking
about
name?
Tomorrowland?
Oh no, Tomorrowland was actually not by Colin Trevorrow.
Wasn't it? I thought it
No,
was.
that was by Brad Bird, and that's why it at least looked good. It was just
Maybe
fucking messy.
that fucks me up. Because I remember like having such like high hopes for that, and I couldn't remember why. And if it was, that would explain like why I had such high hopes for it.
Because Brad Bird's a really talented director and proved that he
And
could
he,
do live actual
I
Mission
think
Impossible.
I think he went and like fucked around with that. Did he do that
Oh, Book
between
of
and
Henry. Oh my God, have you seen fucking Book of Henry?
no?
This is one of the
Oh,
worst and most questionable movies of all time.
it was Brad Bird.
And Book of Henry is directed by Colin Trevorrow. And when I tell you there's a movie with Naomi Watts, Jada Martell, Jacob Tremblay, and Sarah Silverman, you're like, oh, minus Sarah Silverman, that sounds like a really legitimately talented cast of people. Sarah Silverman's done some stuff recently where I've just kind of lost a lot of respect for Sarah Silverman, but that's neither here nor there. I like old, angry, offensive Sarah Silverman. I'm not a big fan of like Israel is the best place ever, Sarah Silverman.
Hmm.
And yes, I
Yeah,
said that shit. I don't even care.
I don't.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think I even heard of this fucking movie.
Book of Henry is one of the worst movies of all time. It is disgusting.
Was it worse than Southland Tales?
Yes, because Southland Tales was at least entertaining.
Eh, was it though?
Okay, remember Patch Adams, the Robin Williams movie that you watch it and you're like, so is Patch Adams an asshole? Because that's the vibe I'm getting from this movie that's trying to tell me how good he is. This was the dramatic equivalent to Patch Adams,
Hmm. So it's
except worse.
like trying too hard to sell you on this character. It sounds like.
With instructions from her genius sons carefully crafted notebook, a single mother sets out to rescue a young girl from the hands of her abusive stepfather. This is
Oh,
melodramatic claptrap where I'm like, what's wrong with this child? Does he have problems? And not in, like a fun way, but like, is this kid a psychopath? Who we're supposed to
yes.
be following as the hero of this movie?
The answer is yes. He's a psychopath.
Written by the creators of the show, the remake of the show V with Monica with Miranda Bachman, which was a piece of shit. Also,
I
that was
remember
made
watching
by
that. That got canceled, right? Or they finished
yeah,
it?
it was a weird anti-Obama sci-fi show where they actually told, and I know this for a fact because I saw her at freaking Comic-Con, and she is even better looking in person. It's ridiculous. Where Miranda Bachman apparently was told that her haircut was too severe, which actually meant that the head of the suit, she found out by an assistant that the creator of the show basically said it was a dyke haircut to one of
Wow.
them. So there are certain people who are just legitimately awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, he made Book of
But
Henry.
like she's one of those folks who pulled off that haircut like so well. I remember everybody was just like, okay, when are we gonna get her as Wasp?
Yeah, no, it's fucking ridiculous.
It was like the immediate response, I think, of like the comic book nerds online. They're just like, that's Wasp right there.
So now that I know that rant, let's continue.
Okay. So we get like our big ass fight. They clear room for Deadpool and Wolverine to finally make a run at Cassandra Nova. who thankfully cannot hit them with psychic powers um from afar. And she finally gets her hands on Wolverine, and we get to see that sequence that we see in the trailers where he's kind of like walking amongst the graves,
That scene was beautiful. The way they did that.
and we really get to see Hugh Jackman's like dramatic chops there because, like we talked about before, she's a little bit fascinated with him. She seems to kind of
It almost feels
it's
weirdly empathetic.
it's almost like
Like
a
it doesn't come across as I want to just kill this person to kill them. It's
yeah
like she's seeing a person who it's like the way I see it is because the way that she kind of creates herself in both in the comics and here, she doesn't see herself as a villain, weirdly enough. As evil as she is, like she still blames Xavier.
yeah like this version. It's also worth mentioning, I believe, doesn't even really interact with Charles as an adult. They kind of mention that she gets plucked up by the TVA very, 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 very early in life to the point where Charles didn't even know that she existed. So it's this weird. It is kind of like a like you said, empathetic vibe. It was almost like a Palpatine and Anakin. Like she wanted somebody who I guess like knew what it felt like to be like discarded by like time and by their world and by Xavier. So she thought maybe there was like a little bit of like a kinship there, and she tried to turn him almost,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. And
Nope,
luckily,
not
they
at all.
managed to get the Juggernaut helmet um, onto her dome and block her psychic powers for a bit, and then they were gonna kill her. And then Wolverine kind of like he started to remember like Xavier a bit, and
I love
it,
this scene, by the way.
it was a nice moment because that is the thing that always makes it's always the difference between like when Wolverine is like off on his own and when Wolverine is with the X-Men. Is like he holds back a little bit and doesn't go like full on like murdery because he knows that the X-Men stand for something more, and that's what he tells Cassandra, and they take the helmet off, and they take a chance because they definitely could have got fucked up by Cassandra afterwards, but he basically tells her that like, there's no way Charles would have let me
Kill her.
kill her. And he kind of like tells her like you have to understand like what a great person like he actually was, and he like he said he would have tore a hole in the universe to get to you if he knew that you existed. And she believes him. She feels that, and it's a completely like real moment. Like you said, it's like a such a good moment that unfortunately gets interrupted when Pyro caps her ass.
Yep.
And so
Such
that
an
ends up
asshole. Such a fucking asshole. But it
um
works so well. Because I
one thing that we
rewatched the movie this morning and I forgot how much of a
yeah,
bastard he was there too.
he was a little dick. And it was kind of like that's what I kind of like talk about the so when he eventually does get like his showdown with Iceman. So that's what the thing that kind of like uh that's why I'll say that, he can't just like do that shit to Human Torch is because it's a little bit more like innate and built in like Pyro, that's his thing. Like he can't generate fire.
He
He can
needs to
only
control it.
manipulate it.
Which is
So
still like God level power. When you actually think about it. It's kind of like when people make fun of Jubilee. I'm like, she can make plasma out of nothing.
yeah,
Do
it's
people not understand how insane that actually is?
um so yeah, Jubilee, she wasn't in this, right? They didn't like
She
try to
was
pop
not.
like
I
some
was
kind of
sad.
like little
I
variant
was
in there.
ho-
Okay.
I was hoping,
Well,
especially with the Wolverine Jubilee connection, I
yeah,
was hoping they could have done something like that.
yeah, maybe. So they have their little scrap. She gets shot, and then they let her heal up and then use her she has a sling ring from some sorcerer.
Yep.
And some people have speculated that like the little jewels on it are actually like infinity stones, but I'm not so sure.
I like
Um,
to assume it was from Ned from Spider-Man.
you think that she just murdered the shit out of Ned?
Do
That's what you like to think?
when I say that, when you say that out loud, could you not picture Cassandra Noah
She
just
just
murdering Ned for no
she
reason?
just skinned him alive, basically. Just like that poor sweet boy Johnny. Um, just
He's my favorite
heart
Filipino superhero
heart
alone.
of an angel. So
I mean,
she uses
Bishop's a better Filipino superhero, but still. Oh
she
yeah,
uses a
I love
sling
that they
ring.
actually retconned that and made him Filipino, like Los Portacio wanted. So he's actually mixed Philippine.
Well, yeah, you gotta spice it up. So she uses a sling ring and she lets them go with Elias like bearing down on everybody. And you can see the resistance guys are like starting to fall. They're starting to get injured in that
Oh,
like
I
very
hated that
dramatic.
part.
Um, and Deadpool and Wolverine end up back in Deadpool's like home dimension, and they're trying to stop because we kind of glossed over the fact that Pyro has been working with Mr. Paradox this whole time,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy to think that they've had like this way of communicating, and he's like keeping an eye on Cassandra, and the whole reason why he shoots Cassandra in the first place is like to make sure that she doesn't escape, and Mr. Paradox is trying to pretty much like prune like the whole like Deadpool's dimension, just to speed it up a little bit because he doesn't want to wait around for it to just wither. And so Deadpool and Wolverine show up. They're gonna stop him, and Cassandra Nova shows up first, and she wants to take control of the thingy, and she brought the Deadpool core to back her up.
Yeah, this fucking part. Holy shit. Um,
So
more cameos, by the way.
so many cameos, and R.I.P. Nice Pool.
Nice pool.
Was it Nice Pool or
Why
Friend Pool?
did
I
he
can't
look like
remember.
a Caucasian samurai?
Well,
Why was
I
he
mean,
why
isn't
was
that
he
what
Tom
Deadpool
Cruise?
is? Isn't that what
No.
Deadpool kind of is? I mean, come on, he's got the
No,
katanas.
He's Jerry Lewis with muscles and weapons.
He's got the katanas. There's a little bit of appropriation there, but um, so
Rob
uh,
Liefeld appropriating the work of others? What are you
poor
talking about, sir?
poor Nice Pool,
Feeling fat
who,
regeneration factor?
AKA the previous owner of Dogpool, um,
I love
who
Dog Pool.
Dogpool is awesome.
Okay, for people who don't know, Peggy the dog was voted the world's ugliest dog in 2023. Peggy the dog is a little tiny dog from England with a very long tongue. And Peggy the dog did not have to be digitally manipulated or anything to show as Peggy the dog does in costume. Oh, and Peggy the dog was actually in a costume too, which is even more adorable.
Yeah,
Let's
that was
let's let's
just break
show
down the Deadpool core.
here. Let's just while you're doing that, we're just gonna show this treasure at the premiere. Look at him. Look at her.
Oh God, the little boots. That's what does it for me.
Oh,
So the Deadpool core show up.
fucking
Uh,
head pull.
Lady Deadpool shows up. Tragically does not unmask, although I think it was confirmed that it
It was Blake
was
Lively.
Blake Lively's voice.
Also, someone pointed out that Blake Lively has a very specific knee. Oddly enough,
I'm
like
sorry, what?
her knee. There's
She
like
has
so.
a
I don't know if something
specific.
happened with her knee or if it was some surgery or something that had been done, but she has a very specific knee. And someone pointed out that someone actually realized it because of her knee that was her as that Lady Deadpool.
That's definitely not creepy.
And oh no, it's really creepy. That's why I'm glad it wasn't me who said it, because then you would have been like Creeper Ian, which is not my actual name, sir.
Yeah, I mean that's not what makes you a creep. It's your, dozens of gigabytes of porn that you just had to delete so that you
I
could
don't
record
have
this.
that gigabytes of porn. I deleted
Not
it.
anymore because you just deleted it. So anyway, so Okay, so Lady Deadpool, Headpool, Kidpool, Cowboy, Deadpool, um, there was another one that was like a manga version of like Deadpool. There was like a samurai Deadpool. So many versions
Freaking Matthew McConaughey has Cowboy Pool.
that murdered the living shit out of Nice Pool,
Oh, and
who
for
did not
those,
have a regenerative factor.
oh God, I feel so bad for him. Oh, and can we love the moment where everybody stopped for Dogpool so Dogpool would get hurt?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
like, why would?
and because some people are assholes, but sure.
So they let Dogpool, even though like Wolverine, he didn't know that, but Wolverine used Deadpool as a human shield, basically. Not as badly as Nice Pool got used as a human shield, but still.
Oh, and real quick thing for those who watch Welcome to Wrexham, by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McCallum. That was actually, for those who know it, that was Paul Mullen from Wrexham as Welsh Bull.
Was that
Okay.
good? I
Paul
started watching that. Who was he in that? Is he?
Paul Mullen, he was the main forward on the team.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
he's
know.
a yeah, he's the forward, and he's actually the voice of, he's actually Welsh Bull.
Oh, okay.
I
So
start I started watching it with Jen after she started watching. I'm like, this is really dramatic. What the hell? Why is this
it
show making me
is,
sad?
but it's good.
Yeah.
So when they line up against the Deadpool core, we finally get to see Hugh Jackman mask up. How did you feel about that, Ian? Was it everything that you hoped for?
Fucking hell, dude. I'm not going to say that I destroyed my popcorn bucket, but I destroyed my popcorn bucket.
I I hope you're talking about like a regular popcorn bucket and not one of the ones with like
It
a,
could
a,
go
a
either way.
mouth.
It
So
could
when
go
you
either.
say you
It,
destroyed your popcorn bucket,
the popcorn bucket is never going to be the same, and I feel sympathy for Hugh Jackman. I'm just
okay.
kidding. I had a regular box of popcorn
Uh,
that has more butter in it now.
butter,
Yes, you get the butter popcorn for the concessions, bro. What is wrong with you?
butter.
We
It has
already
more
know
butter
that you're a
now.
pervert now for what you've said so far.
Y
Unlike me, I'm
sir,
basically a saint. And it's like,
you
dude, this is
are
not happening.
every bit of a saint as Johnny Storm was. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, look at
So
him. He flew high, man. He flew high.
you did.
And his
So
neck flew low. And so
so
did his skin
so
and his
they
bones.
fight the fucking Deadpool core to the Madonna song that's been like permeating everybody's ears.
Like a, it's a prayer. Like a prayer for Johnny Storm.
And basically, like Wolverine is just all too excited to murder the shit out of multiple Deadpools. And uh that action sequence was pretty fucking awesome
I know.
to see. It's always nice to see like Wolverine go like full on berserker. Like, d- do you remember what it felt like to see Wolverine go just like a hint of berserker
And
in
X-Men 2.
X2?
Oh hell
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Okay. I was rewatching X-Men 2 this morning, like I said. That is still the fucking goat in terms of X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And
Um
because I don't count
it's
Wolverine movies
so
as X-Men movies. They're not
well
X-Men.
balanced.
I know. Because Days of Future Past is good if you watch the director's cut. The theatrical cut's good too, but you could tell they cut shit out of it.
Yeah. But
And
like the thing that
X-Men 2
makes
doesn't feel that way.
X2 better is that like everybody gets a chance to do something. Everybody gets a chance to contribute. Everybody gets like a very uh a line of dialogue that cuts to the core of their character. So it was so nothing was wasted in that. And it was very much like if you enjoyed X-Men 97 for that same reason, like that to see it in live action is crazy good. And there's a reason why it was considered like one of the best, if not the best,
It
like
still
superhero movies
is.
for like the longest time. And it holds up I think, and just as much as like Spider-Man 2.
Oh, and by the
So
way, can we talk about the kind of weird, like kind of oddly sexy pairing of Nightcrawler and Storm and that, and all the hints of that, watching that movie, and I'm like, so can we just make this happen? Because I'm sure
uh
Chris Claremont would have approved.
I mean, yeah.
And
But
I mean, we've all seen that drawing of Nightcrawler and Storm by Dave Cockrum. Because you know what, Batman? Heroes do that. They do.
yeah, and some heroes have two cocks.
Yes, they do.
Nightcrawler has two cocks.
And I've seen Earth Girls Are Easy. I know that shit is true.
I thought you were gonna say you've seen Nightcrawler's cock. Um,
I mean, I've seen that drawing, so you at least get some chode in that drawing, but not necessarily like the whole, you know.
oh shit. So
Remember when we thought that by making changes to this podcast and removing certain people, it would cause kind of a more professional balance to this podcast? And then we went back and we re-listened to the Spider-Man No Way Home podcast, where it's literally just me and Sandra on the second half talk about how hot Zendaya and Andrew Garfield were. Not one of us specifically for one or the other, but just like this weird loving of both of them.
I mean, it's understandable,
Yeah.
but
I mean, they're both very pretty.
so speaking of pretty, we gotta.
Speaking of Andrew Garfield,
No, I was so there was so much speculation about like who Lady Deadpool was gonna be. So I'm glad that it finally got to be Blake Lively. I was a little bit disappointed that she didn't unmask
that's a
because
good costume. That's all I'm gonna say about
I
that scene.
kept on waiting for that to happen. So they tear through the Deadpool core, but unlike Nice Pool, the Deadpool core actually has healing factors.
Seeing them
So
all
they
come
get
back, I'm
up
like, oh fuck.
for round two, and then it's stopped by Peter of all
Peter!
people.
Peter Wisdom!
Peter, who is like the
The
goat
sexiest
apparently
Deadpool.
of all the multiverse. So basically, it's like a I love you in every universe situation, but with Peter.
Can we
So
I'm gonna talk about something. Do you know who Peter Wisdom is?
no.
Okay. Most people who watch Deadpool do not know who Peter Wisdom is. Peter Wisdom is a character created by Warren Ellis. Peter Wisdom is basically a Black Ops agent who joined Excalibur in Warren Ellis's run. This is Peter Wisdom. Peter Wisdom is basically a Marvel version of John Constantine. Because, well, let's be honest, Warren Ellis has certain tropey characters that he wants to
Oh,
be like.
I think I've seen this guy in a couple of different comics. I just didn't really
This is when he banned Kitty Pryde.
wait a minute. I'm trying to remember what comic I saw him in. It might have been in some of like the recent X-Men shit, some of the Excalibur stuff, maybe.
Here's the thing. Warren Ellis said that he didn't know that Kitty Pryde's character had only just been around 17 or 18 years old when these
So
comics came
they
out.
went statutory a little bit.
Pete Wisdom is in his about mid 30s. And so back then, I was like, oh, you know what? And he actually said the way they drew the character, he honestly had no idea. He just assumed that she was an adult because he did not really read a lot of the Claremont comics before going in to write this. The more we know about Warren Ellis, the more I'm like, is your story actually true or not? I give credit to Ellis because Ellis is not that. Ellis was just a creep, not a pedo, which puts him ahead of sadly, a lot of creative people.
Did this happen in the Max comic or no?
No, this happened in Excalibur.
Oh, thank God.
And I'm like, bro, stop it. Newspaper, stop. I
Bad.
legitimately believe that he thought that she was of age,
I
but
mean,
it's still weird.
she's one of those characters who they kind of they took a while to age up.
Yeah, like she literally went to college in 2000, the year 2000.
Okay, so
But this is why I kind of love and hate Peter Wisdom in the Deadpool movies. Peter Wisdom is a fucking badass. And Peter Wisdom looks like this. Do you see why I kind of don't like Pete in the Deadpool movies? But I still do because the character in the movies is still great.
Yeah, I mean
But it,
he's there to support. He's
I know.
he's the wingman.
But it also kind of gives me like brings me back to like Birds of Prey and Cassandra Cain, where I'm like, that is not her at
Mhm.
all. Is she a good character in the movie?
It's
Sure.
like let's put the
That's not her.
greatest fighter in the DC universe in, and she can't fight for shit.
Yeah. So this for DC fans out there, Peter Wisdom to me is the Marvel version of Cassandra Cain and Birds of Prey. I just had to put that
Yeah,
out
I think
there.
you already alienated all the DC fans with your anti-Joker propaganda.
Oh, here's the thing. Joker is not a terrible movie. Michael thinks Joker is a terrible movie.
It's
Hate Michael.
so like
Joker is
unnecessary.
a pretentious movie that does nothing but rip off better movies by Martin Scorsese and oddly enough, Dracula's Kiss with Nicolas Cage. If you've seen the movie, you understand. Made by a pretentious asshole who made an overrated series of movies called the Hangover Trilogy. Now I've alienated the audience.
So
Please continue.
so we'll probably end up doing like a whole other thing about like um why the Joker sucks. But anyway, so to we got to get to Captain Canuck, aka Captain Cum Gutters. So they're as they show up to they Peter gets them to the Deadpool Corps to stand down, and Mr. Paradox has been kind of basically been waylaid by Cassandra Nova. She's taken over. She's basically trying to like absorb like the power of this thingy, and it's giving her the effect of if you've seen like Loki like season 2 of like how things get all what's
Fucked
the right
up.
word? Stringy. She tries to like string cheese the universe to death basically and absorb like the powers of this MacGuffin. What do they call it again? Like a universal ripper, something like that.
Yeah.
Dimensional ripper, universal ripper, something like that. So they basically said, okay, you have to go down, you have to complete this chain between like the anti and the matter and antimatter fusions, and you have to complete this chain, and basically it'll blow it up and all that shit. And Deadpool and Wolverine have this little moment where they're trying to figure out who's going to sacrifice who, and Wolverine's like, I'm gonna do it, but then fucking Deadpool pulls like a Spock, which he does. I'm glad that they actually acknowledged it, and they're just like, yeah, this is basically Wrath of Khan.
Michael,
So
can you do it? Michael?
I think so, yeah. Like
There you go. There's some people who can't. I can't figure out why.
yeah, I don't know why either.
Psychos.
Yeah. So Deadpool tries to do it, but he's like he can't complete it, which seems like not very well like thought out. But Wolverine comes to help him, and they complete the chain together, like very similar to like Guardians of the Galaxy, except we have that gratuitous the shirt just disintegrates off of Hugh Jackman, and we get to see shirtless Hugh in all of his glory. Who
If
that
I had
poor
that power, people would
bastard.
be sad.
Um, the poor man, like I think he's talked about it before, like what it takes to get to look that good on camera is hell. So I'm glad that they only did it like for a very short period of time, and they let him,
Eat
not
food.
focus so much on like the shirtless stuff for most of the movie.
Also
But they
because of the
did,
skin cancer. Oh
yeah.
yeah, little detail. Whenever you see him with the bare arms, that's a digital effect. And the reason being is because Hugh Jackman does it multiple times where apparently cancer has just tried to kill him. And so they're like, hey, why don't we not risk giving you skin cancer again and actually do a digital effect for your arms? Which was really well done. I would have had no idea unless I knew ahead of time. That's all.
Yeah. And so Hugh Jackman, yeah, like you said, he's like been through some shit. They even like referenced the fact that he got through, I think he went through a divorce
Yeah,
recently, and they're like,
both
oh,
him and
he's a little
Tatum
bit
did in the last couple
he's a
years.
little bit doughy from like the divorce and all that. So like they reference a couple times like he's gonna be doing this until he's 90. And like that's why I feel kind of bad for the fact that he has to like he gets in that shape and we have that expectation of this poor fucker. But
His millions and millions of dollars.
he's the Wolverine, man. It would I don't know. Like I kind of how do you feel about the fact that he survived?
I actually really like it. It was nice to see, especially because we know this is not the Logan from the 2017 movie, so it doesn't feel like a slap in the face. I'm excited that he is going to be starring in Three Bags Full, the Sheep Detective movie, directed by Kyle Balda,
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, sir.
and starring Emma Thompson.
That sounds fake, but
It's not
probably
fake.
real.
It is real. And I looked up just now, and it makes me happy.
Like speaking of poor fucking Hugh Jackman, what was that movie? He was in that like noir detective movie with Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes, I know. It's called the TV show Koala Man, sir, on Hulu.
Sorry, what?
It's called the TV show Koala Man, starring Michael
No.
Cusack and Sarah Snook.
Reminiscence. I
Oh, that movie's
tried
fucking
watching it.
terrible. Yeah, it was.
I
It was really pretty.
was like, this is Hugh Jackman. It's Rebecca Ferguson. It's got Sandy Newton in it. It's got Cliff Curtis in it. Um,
What are all these beautiful people doing in this terrible movie? Stop it.
Daniel Wu, Brett Cullen, Natalie Martinez, who like I desperately missed after seeing her in Death Race.
And it's directed by the people behind who did Fallout and Westworld. Lisa
Like
Joy.
I don't think I finished it. It was
Yeah,
bad.
I've tried watching it. It's fucking pretentious trash.
Yes, but
I hate when people say that word because it always sounds shitty and douchey. But
yeah,
this is actually just describe it.
it is an overused like term, but luckily Deadpool and Wolverine it was not that. It was actually good. It was
I'm gonna
enjoyable.
put out one criticism of this movie,
What's that?
and it's not the people whining about the fan service of the movie because that's what it's supposed to be. The
Yeah.
movie went in telling you that shit. So, oh no, the movie is what it told us it was going to be. Oh God.
What's
Um,
your criticism? What's your beef with it then?
the final fight sucks.
With the Deadpool core?
No, not the Deadpool core, but the death of Cassandra Nova is just lame. It's like everyone put your hands in the suicide, go inside the suicide box, see who survives. Oh, it's the main characters? Okay, cool. Pull these
Well,
things.
it was a little bit weird, like pacing wise, to have the opportunity well to kill her. But I think the thing that makes it work a little bit is that when she does die, it's not really like a personal thing. It was
I
more
know.
like
It
a
had to be done.
battle of wills, and she's like sitting there literally wanting to destroy the universe, and it's like okay, here at the end of all things, like we can just like leave you. You can do whatever, it doesn't matter. But when you're actively trying to destroy the universe, like the decision is between, and it was really like a battle of wills between like Deadpool and Wolverine and Sandra Nova, and they ended up winning. And I don't know if they knew that it was gonna like kill her, but they were just trying to stop it. So I don't think it was like a personal thing for them.
True. Oh, and can we talk about Wunmi Misako as B-15 coming back in? That was really nice to see her pop up.
So see her pop up and then lust over Peter,
Yeah, which was kind of beautiful. You know what? You go,
which
Peter.
was which was very weird according to Mr. Paradox. It was
Uh,
like she has a second where she's like, "Damn, you look really good in that suit." And he's just like, "What the fuck?"
and I know I've told Michael, and I've been accused by Michael of being only on the show because of the fact that I can pronounce names that a lot of my co-hosts have difficulty with.
Say her name
And
again.
Wunmi Misako. Um, And I told him that's not true. I said I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to read. Borderline illiterate. But
This is
when
true.
I say that out loud, I'm like, well, motherfucker. Thank God I'm kind of vaguely pretty. So I got that going for me. If you squint and are like miles and miles away with like a fucked up telescope, I'm kind of pretty, sort of, maybe. So at least I got that going for me, in addition to being able to pronounce things.
You're not as pretty as Hugh Jackman's cum gutters, but very few
I
things are.
I know. I'm actually prettier than Aaron Stanford though. So I got that going.
Um,
Seriously, watching
yeah,
X2, I'm like, oh, you've always been weird looking.
so many people like if I think if they had a time machine, a lot of people said they would have gone back in time and made sure that Aaron Stanford played Anakin.
No.
Well, so you have to think about it in the terms of like the context of like think about what it was like to just watch Attack of the Clones.
It's a pretty bad movie.
Yeah,
It's got some cool ideas, but it's a
but
bad
like
movie.
you can understand why people were saying that. They were
I don't
like,
know.
why? Because that was definitely not his best work. Hayden Christensen has definitely done a lot better things.
Dude, he did better
Um,
movies that year. Like,
I don't think he's kind of like elevated his acting career to the degree of like Robert Pattinson in terms of like folks that we used to like bag on, but now we're
but
just
seeing
like, you
him
know
come back
what,
as Vader was
we're
fucking
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely neat. But to get to wrap up like Deadpool and Wolverine, Wolverine's alive now, and then they convinced the TVA to save Laura. So I'm not sure like if they managed to save anybody else. That's kind of like up in the air.
I'd like to believe they
Um,
rescued them. I'd like to believe that.
yeah, that
Oh,
would have
and
been
by the
cool.
way, if anyone, because Life as a House is a very good movie, it's very controversial, especially in terms of the role Hayden Christensen plays. But for anyone who wants to know how good of an actor he actually is, it's just that George Lucas doesn't know how to direct humans. Shattered Glass is an amazing freaking movie. Also, funny enough, it's his first time working with Rosario Dawson. Shattered Glass is a true story. It's about a journalist. He fell from grace. He was part of the New York Times. Oh no, the New Republic magazine, and he found out that he had fabricated over half the articles that he wrote for them. It's
Who doesn't
very
love?
good. It's on Tubi. It's on Freeview. It's on Roku. I wish it was on like streaming service that people like those are all available and it's all great, but it's like I wish this movie was available on like Netflix or some shit. So somebody on some article on fucking some random ass website would be like, look at this movie, it's really good. It's like, no shit. We did that when it came out, but you just know found out that yesterday. But
And why would you not want to see more movies with Rosario Dawson?
I know, fucking psychos. But real quick, to get Hayden Christensen, Chloe Sevigny, Steve Zahn, and Peter Sarsgaard. Watch this movie. Everyone, watch this movie and realize that despite what Michael said, Hayden Christensen has actually been a good actor since he first fucking started. It's just that George Lucas doesn't know how to direct actors. Ask Carrie Fisher. Well, you can't ask her now, but
Jesus Christ,
travel in
man.
time.
Jesus fucking Christ.
If,
Desecration.
please continue. Now
So
that we've isolated everyone, please
thanks.
continue.
That's Ian. Um, Wolverine's alive now. The universe, they basically said like Deadpool's weird fucking plan worked. Like the having Wolverine back as the anchor being healed his timeline. So it's like he's still it makes it seem like he's still kind of like existing like outside of like the MCU proper, um, in his own like little dimension. But Wolverine is there now, Laura's there now. He saved his friends. It looks like he might get back with Vanessa. And that's basically it. I mean, he has Dogpool now too,
Yep.
which is good. So then
The fucking mid post credits fucking make me cry.
so yeah, like
Explain it, Michael, because
the
I'm going
mid
to cry if I talk about it.
So the mid-credit scene that shows to Green Day's one of the most overplayed songs that
But it works
you
here.
can forgive for this is basically just like a callback to all like the Fox superhero movies in various versions too. Like it shows not only like the like the Jessica Alba and Chris Evans crew from the Fantastic Four. It also shows like Michael B. Jordan's Human Torch. It shows like the X-Men movies, like behind the scenes shit, like when they're just fucking about. Hugh Jackman just messing around. I'm surprised they didn't do the Spider-Man little bit, Spider-Man showing up on the set of X-Men.
I know. Other outtakes.
So that might have been a little bit too much, but they that showed like all the behind the scenes stuff with like Halle Berry and then all the way like forward with like the more recent uh trilogy of X-Men movies with
And
like
they even
the
reference Van
Ian.
Vorstick, which I love seeing.
Yeah.
It's not a
So
good movie, but you know what?
the first half
It's
is
not the
solid.
act. It's not the and it's not the cast's fault because it's
It's
like
really
here's a lot of
not.
really great actors and a director who, despite being a big old stoner douche nozzle, actually wanted to make a good movie.
Yeah. And the first half is solid, I feel like, but it falls apart.
You could tell as soon as Fox took over that movie.
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, let's make it standard like superhero bullshit now. And they're just it loses its heart, basically. Um, so it shows like a lot of behind the scenes stuff with those characters. It shows callbacks like Daredevil as well. It shows like Ben Affleck and Foggy having a little moment.
Yeah.
So it's very much like a goodbye to those films and like a thank you, really, for giving them this start. Like is rocky as some of the movies have been, we still wouldn't have been here.
He's talking about
The what?
the thing, because he's made of rock.
No, no, sir. I'm talking about things like X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh
The
no.
thing.
Oh no. Tragedy. So that part, the mid-credit scene was pretty cool, but there's more.
Yes, there is.
Did you
Which
stay
oddly enough
until
we did.
the end,
Oh, of course I did.
Ian?
Oh, Johnny,
Yeah.
what are you doing, Johnny?
So
Because we
so
actually didn't mention that, oddly enough, in our first parts. We have to touch back on that.
so it was very, very, very lightly mentioned that Deadpool was like referencing Johnny talking mad shit about Cassandra Nova, and she gets very upset. And then that's what leads to him getting skinned alive. And Deadpool is tired of hearing people talk about him like he was some sweet little angel. And he's like, let's play back the tape. And like goes back to show them actually being transported. And you get to see Chris Evans talking all of the mad shit and laying out some of like the foulest language that he could definitely never ever use as Captain America. And
Chris Evans loves cursing. I've come to
you could
realize between this.
tell that he loved every second of doing that shit. And then Deadpool was like, yep, he was a little asshole, so fuck that guy. And that's basically it. I don't think they did anything that was just like, oh, this Deadpool will return or any like thing like that.
No, they didn't. But here's the thing: they don't need to.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, even they, I know they're going to because money. But
Yeah.
even if they didn't, I'm fine. Yeah, because this was a really good send off.
I'm definitely gonna see it again. So Ian, having only seen it the once, I usually don't like to review movies until I've seen them twice, but I guess
But
we'll
with
like
this, we
do it with
needed
this,
content out there because internet.
but with this caveat of saying like first viewing, what is like your first like viewing like from one to 10 or 0 to 10?
If I'm,
Oh,
I'm gonna go out of five. I'm gonna say 4.5 out of five.
oh,
And
you're
the
gonna
only
okay.
reason
Okay.
being is because of the fact that the ending was kind of lame with Like the Deathwish syndrome was kind of lame for a strong character.
Yeah, it would be neat to see a variant of her show up again because she's interesting. She's an interesting villain. I hope they end up using her like in X-Men 97 at some point. Um, it's a really strong series, so I don't see why I wouldn't make it, considering how much content they were able to cover in the OG series. But I would definitely give it like a 9 out of 10 or like a 4.5 out of 5, like you said. Um, and the main reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is I think there were just like I wanted more. It was almost like so I definitely wanted more from X-23. That would have been nice. I'm glad she did get a chance to do like more one-on-one with Logan. I kind of wish there was like a little bit of I felt like the reasoning for like why Wolverine was the way he was a little weak. I really expected them to like say like this was like the old man Logan version after he had been fucked over by like the villains and Mysterio into killing the X-Men.
Yeah, the
I
killing the
thought,
X-Men, and then no, well, here because in this he basically the X. Oh yeah, we didn't touch on this real
yeah,
quick because this review
he
has
was
already run
basically
long.
just gone while almost made it sound like he was gone like in the part in X2 where the humans come and he's just like not around to like help defend them.
Yeah, because even Jen
So,
was like, they have superpowers. One of them
yeah,
controls the weather.
I
One of them
mean,
fires beams out of their eyes. How
it
did
was a
these
little
random
thin.
hillbillies kill them?
It was a little thin. So I thought that they were going to do that. I thought maybe even Cassandra Nova was going to have a little bit of role in that. So I thought that part was like a little, like they definitely could have explained that a little bit better. That was a little bit funky.
It felt a little bit hand wavy.
Um, and I think maybe having like the whole thing with like Deadpool, like having to find himself because his girl is putting pressure on him just to do something. I mean, he's already like he saved your fucking life. He went back through time.
Yeah, that was odd.
He broke time so that way you could live again. And you're just like, yeah, but I'm gonna need to
But
see a better title on your resume. That seemed a little that seemed a little fucked
odd.
up for her character, considering like when did she start out? Like as a prostitute?
A stripper.
I'm pretty sure she was a prostitute as well.
Oh wait, no, she was. It was an interview where
So
they called her dancer in this. They didn't mention that in the other one.
not that like sex work isn't work, but like the fact that she was
Michael hates sex workers. Hey, do you hear this?
no. What I'm saying is like
Michael doesn't actually hate sex workers. We love Michael. Give him hugs.
she seems so casual about
He
like
loves the interaction with
everything.
people he doesn't know. So give him hugs if you see him at conventions.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure people will do that. But she just seems so like casual and like she's how you saw how quickly she got over the fact that he was like so disfigured now.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like
It
in
felt
line
very
with
out
her
of character.
character.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a little bit weird, but I can understand like there's a couple things that were like a little bit forced just so that way the story could happen and like things could like move faster. I also wish we got the lady pool unmasking. Um, and I guess I wish we got to see like fucking Jonathan Majors. Like if we had like gotten like a little bit more connection to like the other fuckery that's like going on with like the MCU, that would have been cool. But everything that they did try to do worked pretty damn well. And it's really like people said I've said before, when you talk about like cameo porn that's like so thin and is actually bad, that's X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's
Yeah.
not this.
I would say with that though, um, with we're at that point. I think we're kind of wrapping up. So with that, Michael. So like I said, 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5. Um, where can people find you on this wacky, wonderful, wonderful, totally not toxic and incel ridden place called the internet?
No, we'll talk about that when we get to the Acolyte. So You can find me on Instagram and Threads. I would like to say that as soon as I started joining Threads, everybody started joining Threads. I'm
Oh,
not sure if
fucking
that was a thing.
fucking thread setter, fucking trend thread sweater.
So you can find me there on both of those platforms at Four Duds Pilot a Man Suit. I hope you can't find me on Facebook because I have my shit pretty locked down. So
I'll
yeah,
let you all know where he is. Don't worry, just ask me.
yeah. If you'll probably see me, sometimes I comment on Circuit 42, just fighting with assholes. That happens sometimes. Ian,
But
where can people find you?
you can find me on the internet. There you go, done. But I'm just kidding. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as the incredibly creatively named Ian McIntosh or Ian McIntosh. And of course, you can find Circuit 42 on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook. You can listen to us on the Spotify. You can listen to us on iTunes. You can listen to us on Google Play. And of course, you can watch us on the YouTubes. That's right. That's right. We are this handsome. I can't grow that. I mean, good friend. So with that, this has been the newest episode of Circuit 42. I'm Ian McIntosh. This is professional wizard and sidekick, Michael Martinez, collector of toys, just like in Spaceballs.
I love toys. Yeah. Good night, everybody. Hope
Good night, everyone.
you enjoyed the shit out of this. Uh,
And for anybody who felt like they were isolated or attacked, you were.
it was intentional.
Yeah, it's super intentional, especially the incels.